Brothers and sisters, and welcome once again to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. I'm your weekly host, Brother James Muhammad. I'm honored to have back on the show Enrico Dowdy, the brother of Hernandez Dowdy. Good afternoon, brother.
Good afternoon.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
On September the 17th of 2014, I believe, 2015, you was on the show with the Black Autonomy Federation.
Yes.
And we was discussing police killing in the Memphis area. But before we get into it, I'd like to read something to you that is related to the events and things that's going on in America today.
Okay.
Now, when I think back on that show, that couple is way advanced of what is going on today and was warning us in the black community about the disproportionate killings of black people in America, and particularly Memphis, Tennessee. And I went back and studied that video, and I would like to share some information with you all in the audience from our brothers and sisters from the Black Autonomy Federation. It said the U.S. Justice Department is taking action to curb the use of deadly force by police in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But deadly force by police in Memphis, Tennessee, is the worst in the country. According to a citizen watchdog group, the Memphis Black Autonomy Federation, has asked the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice to investigate a pattern or practice of misconduct by the Memphis Police Department. Memphis police killed 23 people in 2012 and 2013, the largest number of people killed by the police in a period in America. The Federation maintains in Albuquerque, police officer has killed 23 people in the last 4 years. Memphis, the poorest big city in America, is a majority black city. We can only wonder if this is the reason why federal officials has ignored the excessive use of deadly force by Memphis police. The Federation said, June 2012, you lost someone very special in your life.
Yes, I did.
Back then, when you was on the show, you and the Black Autonomy Federation was trying to receive justice for Hernandez Dowdy. But in light of that situation, since then more information have come out about the so-called justified homicide of Hernandez Dowdy. Tell us, let's look at these chain of events that have led up to the murder, so-called justified homicide of Hernandez Dowdy. How did this get started? In the police report, there's a young lady by the name of Erica Moore. Who is Erica Moore, and what role does she play in this?
Well, Erica Moore started the events. Erica was on drugs in the neighborhood by Wooddale, and she pawned her car to a drug dealer, which my brother knew the drug dealer. He wouldn't give her car back, so she actually started prostituting at one of the local gas stations, and she got arrested. But prior to that, trying to get her car back, she reported that there were 4 black people, 2 black males and 2 black females, carjacked her. And she had anxiety, and she asked one of them to drive, and they pulled a gun on her. And that's the report she gave the police department.
Now, this is a white girl stating that 2 blacks.
No, 4 blacks.
4 blacks, 2 black males, and 2 black females.
Yes.
Okay.
Little white girl from South Haven, Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. So she yelled carjack. They took it serious. She, from my understanding, for a couple of days, she was out trying to get her car, and says that she was involved in prostitution and met a pimp or something in the report. And she could no longer get the car back, so she got arrested, pretty much. When she got arrested, she told one of the officers that the carjack was false, in which she actually recanted the story, said it was false, and the officer actually took a bank robbery call. He got the report, but he took a bank robbery call, and he omitted to go back in the system and put the false carjacking report.
Now let's slow down for a minute now. Erica Moore, this white female.
Yes.
She filed false charges against 4 black people.
Yes.
There's a history of that in our sojourn in America.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So I'm pretty sure they moved faster.
Yes.
To get those 4 black people.
Yes, they did.
But the report was false.
Yes, it was false.
Now, coming up to the police department, she did admit that she filed a false charge, right?
Yes, on the 25th. If it was around 4 or 5 o'clock on the 25th.
Okay, yeah. And the record said on or about June 25th, 2012, Sergeant Nolan spoken with Ms. Moore and discovered that she filed a false report, which is a felony, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, Ms. Moore advised Sergeant Nolan she was arrested for prostitution on June the 22nd, 2012. Upon her release, Ms. Moore could not locate her vehicle or her pimp,
Yes.
who was the last known person to have possessions of the vehicle on June the 27th, 2012. Now, the police officer in the Memphis Police Department did receive the report that it was a false charge,
Yes.
or she filed a false charge,
Yes.
right?
Prior to them pulling him over or spotting the car, when they called it in, they actually told the officer to stand down.
They told the officer. Now let's go back to the officer who received the report now.
Okay.
He did receive the report, right?
Yes, he did. And in the report, he says he got a bank robbery at the Bank of Bartlett that night. And he went to the Bank of Bartlett, and he was there at 9 o'clock that night.
Okay.
And he omitted and he forgot, in which he says it's the 26th, but it's really the 25th. So he's actually trying to make a day up. So he had it for 48 hours almost instead of 24 hours. So after the 48 hours, he actually goes in and tries to put the report in, and you'll see in the report that he says he feels horrible that someone died over this.
Okay, now, and it actually says here, on or about June the 25th, 2012, Sergeant Nolan spoke with Mrs. Moore and discovered that she filed a false report. Now, immediately he was supposed to go into the system and change that because a carjacking is a violent offense.
Yes, yes, it should be immediately done.
Because if the report goes out, that tells the police department how to deal with that one who carjacked the car.
Exactly.
Because he could have a weapon, right?
Yes,
you can assume he have a weapon. It was a violent.
And most carjackers do have weapons.
Okay, now, you said that he made a bank robbery, and he did not immediately put that in the computer.
No, he didn't. As you can see in the report, he says he goes out to the Bank of Bartlett till 9 o'clock that night.
Okay.
And the next day, he come in and got caught up trying to get caught up on work, and which he's saying that's the 26th, but really it's the 25th because the carjacking was still on the vehicle on the 27th. So it's almost 48 hours. So he never actually changed the report. So he only got 45 days suspended too.
So your brother lost his life.
Lost his life.
He got 45 days off.
Yes, and Erica Moore got 20 some odd hours of community service. I could be wrong, but the reports there will tell me. Yeah, nothing but community service.
So Erica Moore, who was looking for her pimp and looking for her car.
Yes.
I can't say this enough now. A white girl who filed charges on 4 black people.
Yes.
That turned out to be false charges.
Yes.
White women have a history of that. Over the last 464 years, I sojourned in America.
Yes.
So if you ever want to get something back quick, just say a black person did it. Right?
That's all you got to say.
Okay, now. Once the carjacking went out, did it go out as a 911 carjacking, or did it go out as a car being used without someone's permission?
If I'm not mistaken, it was a 911 carjacking. It wasn't a borrowed the car. No, it was all 911.
Okay, okay. And that's because he did not go into the computer and change it.
Yes.
So now all of these cops now,
they're on high alert.
They're on high alert.
Yes, they are.
For a carjacking, a violent carjacking.
Yes. And this is not about the Memphis Police Department. This is about individual acts that work for the Memphis Police Department. So we're not here slandering the Memphis Police Department. Let me get that out of the way first. We're here talking about individual acts within the Memphis Police Department, which are not being our district attorneys and our prosecutors, and they're not actually looking at it, and actually doing the right thing. They're looking at it, and on their watch, they don't want any bad marks on their watches. So they kind of sweep it under the rug, and hey, and if you don't have a history or a strong family background, you're nothing. You're just a statistic and a drug addict. They think they have no family members. Nobody's gonna come speak. In the city of Memphis, we have a history of it. They won't stand up, and people lay down. People get tired. I've tried to do it the right way. I've actually done an inquest for them 5 years after the fact. We've actually had a reporter that brought the story back alive 3 years later, and we were told it wasn't a video, but it is a video, which the reporter at the Commercial Appeal, I'm not going to use her name right now because she was actually ran out of town because of this story. She did my brother's story and actually a couple of story after that of some successful businessmen, and she rubbed the wrong people the wrong way here. And she literally got run out of town, and she actually got all her work taken down from the Commercial Appeal. I've spoken to her myself personally, and she's told me it was very scary, traumatic situation for her.
Brothers and sisters, you're just now tuning in to the Self-Improvement Basis for a Community Development Talk Show. I'm your weekly host, Brother James Muhammad. I'm honored to have back on the show Enrico Dowdy. We're discussing the case of Hernandez Dowdy, the so-called justifiable homicide here in Memphis, Tennessee. This case or incident happened back in 2012. We asked Enrico to come back on the show because in relationship to current events that is going on in America today. But there's a lot of information that have come up now. And that's why it's very important for us to go through these chain of events that led, because we didn't know how that report went out. We didn't have a total understanding of this young lady and the charges the false charges that she filed. Also the time that, just working for the city and someone lost their life. The police officer who neglected his duty but caused someone to lose their life, and he only got 45 days.
45 days suspension.
But your brother got life.
Yes, my family got life.
Family got life, right?
It's the word Hernandez, the name Hernandez is everywhere. I'm a big sports fan, watch ESPN a lot, and it's a lot of athletes named Hernandez. So every day I hear my brother's name every day. It's a constant reminder, and it hurts. I've cried a lot about it, and what I can't understand is you got a video, you have audio, and you have everyone saying, hey, they did this guy wrong. No matter what he did prior to what happened, it doesn't matter. He still deserves his day in court. Even if he did carjack the person, he still deserves his day in court. It's not your job to be judge and jury in the street. It's your job to protect and serve, apprehend the suspect, detain him, get him to the jail system, let him have his day in court. And that's just what you're supposed to do in the United States. Unfortunately, we've got individual cops that think it's their job to actually serve, judge and jury on the streets of Memphis, Tennessee, and that's not right. That's not right, Mr. James.
Now, when we look at these chain of events, let's bring it up to the call, the 911 call that went out.
Okay.
They found him driving the car, right?
Yes.
He was told to stop. Now, he did not stop.
The first one, now they brought him in on June, the officer, from my understanding the report, and he says he got behind him. It's maybe 5 seconds. Then they come back 6 or 7 months, and they said, the report says it was 25 or 30 seconds they were behind him. But that's irrelevant. They actually lit him up with their lights, did a U-turn on him. He made a turn and tried to get away, had a head-on collision with a vehicle. He gets out of the vehicle and started a foot chase. Now he actually gets away from him. We have the video now, which they said it wasn't a video, but we do have the video now. He's seen never looking back. They're saying he's looking back and they feel threatened for their lives. On the video, you can clearly see he never looks back. And then he actually, he's holding his pants up, as you can see on the video. And the cops say he's in danger for his life. So we whipped to the scene, And the cop had several places. If he was scared for his life, he had several places to hide and take cover. Okay. And he planted his feet. He squared off on my brother and planted his feet on the video. So he never ducked, he never dodged, he never did anything that shows that my brother was looking back. He never did anything, because if you're scared for your life and you think somebody's going to turn around and shoot at you, you're going to be pretty much, if it was me, I'm going to try to get out of his angle. They never got out of his angle. He just kept running and got right behind him. He squared up, and you can see it on the tape. He squares up and shoots him, and he walks right up, and that was it. It was over with.
Now, also on that tape, there was several officers.
Yes.
Chasing also. The officer that shot him was just the lead officer.
Yes.
But no officer took cover.
Neither one of them. It was 3 officers, 2 came behind him, and no one ever took cover. No.
Now, the Fourth Amendment don't allow the police to shoot a fleeing suspect.
No, it's not.
Unless they fear their life in danger or the public life is in danger. When you look at the video, do you feel that the public was in danger or the officer's lives was in danger?
No, there wasn't. And in their report, they said children. 1 or 2 of them said children was everywhere. We didn't see any children or any people outside during that day in broad daylight.
Okay, now, if children was there, then why are they shooting?
Yes, if they're there, if they're worried about helping, hurting someone, they never should shoot. You're right. Yeah. Now, they shouldn't be shooting at all, pretty much. And I think the Fleeing Felon Act, you let them go. I think if it gets too bad, you let them go and you catch them, or you call the helicopters in, which no helicopters were called in either.
Okay. Now, this takes us all the way back to the officer who did not put it in the computer.
Okay.
Memphis Police Department carried a large amount of this weight of this case.
Yes, they do.
Failing to perform their duty. Now, you can say the young lady now, she did file a charge.
But she did the right thing, though. She came
did
back.
The right thing.
Her conscience got to her. She did the right thing. And if they'd have done the right thing when she done the right thing, he wouldn't have been dead.
So an unpaid criminal did the right thing.
Yes, she did.
A paid police officer didn't do the right thing.
No, neither one of them did. About 4 of them. Yes, about 4 of them. So yes, Erica Moore did come back and say it was a false carjacking report, but laziness, lazy officer pretty much cost my brother his life.
Okay, now in your struggle for justice, where did that process start at? Once you saw the video.
I was at work in California. My brother called me and told me that there was a video, which we were told. We went to the woman's, my parents went to the woman's house, and they actually asked for the video. And she said, well, the Memphis Police Department took everything. Well, my parents go down to the Memphis Police Department and said, we need a copy of the tape. We were told there wasn't a tape. So they strung it along for about a year. So the civil lawsuit would expire. So during that year, I asked for it 2 or 3 times for the evidence, and they always would direct me back to the Memphis Police Department and say it's Memphis Homicide's evidence. So you have to get with them. I go down to the Memphis Homicide. Memphis Homicide says still an investigation. We can't share any information with you. So after that, we actually, never heard anything. They ruled on it, swept it under the rug, hoped we would go away. I meet the Black Optometry, come on your show, and thank you for having me again, came on your show, and I got a little burst of energy in about 2014. I said, well, I'm not going to let this happen. So doing the Ferguson deal, hey, somebody's got to help me with this thing. This is wrong. They didn't. Thank God for Miss Irvin and Mr. Irvin. They were great. I would like to see them again. If you're listening to this, please get in contact with us. We need your help. But after that, I went to work in California in car sales. I'm doing consultant work across the country. My brother said, there's a tape. I said, no, they told us it wasn't a tape. And he said, no, a reporter has pulled the story.
Now, let me get this straight. The police department lied to you.
Yes, to my parents.
To your parents, said there wasn't a tape.
Yes, and my parents actually went to the scene and knocked on the door where the tape was, and the woman said, yes, they took the tape. They took all the recording devices. So after that, the reporter, which the Memphis Police Department, when the reporter did the story of 3 years, I think it was 2015, his story came back. He was the front page of the story of the Memphis Commercial Appeal. He was the front page saying 24 deaths in 5 years. So after that, I finally get in contact with her, and she tells me, she says, "I'm sorry that I released the tape and didn't let your family know. I didn't want you to see it that way. But the Memphis Police Department said they didn't have any information on you." Well, that's a lie also, because they knocked on my parents' door to ask when are they coming to get the body. Never any condolence, no type of "I'm sorry for your loss." It's just, your son's been killed. When are you going to come get his body?
You know what's interesting also, to my audience, we went by the house. The same person still standing there.
Yes, she is.
The same camera is there.
Yes, it is.
And she said to me, I asked her, "Do you have a copy of the tape? Do you have a long version?" She said, "The Memphis Police Department came and got everything that I have."
Yes. Yes, she did. I was there.
So, brothers and sisters, you're just now tuning in to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. I'm your weekly host, Brother James Muhammad. I'm honored to have back on the show Hernandez Dowdy as we discuss the so-called justifiable homicide case of Hernandez Dowdy in 2012 by the Memphis Police Department. Now, let's rewind this for a minute.
Let's go back to the reporter.
That's why I want to go back to.
She came up let me get it right. She came up 3 years later with the report. I get the tape.
But what is her inspiration to go into this case and get the tape?
She's saying, how do you have, going back to the New Mexico deal, we had that many cases in 1 year. They had it in 5 years. Well, the government thought the Justice Department should look into New Mexico Police Department because that was excessive justified homicide by police officers. So she thought it was really weird that Memphis had so many in a short period of time, and they all were justified. And she said, there's no way. So when she started looking into my brother's case, which was the flagship story on the front page, she was like, this is horrible. She's from a bigger city, which she sees that a lot. And when she saw it, I went to the Commercial Appeal, and the senior editor came and spoke to me, her boss. And he said he talked to the mayor that time, during that time, and the mayor literally saw it, leaned over, threw up into the garbage can.
Wow.
Made him sick. So let's go back to even further than that. 48 hours after that, the cop was actually fired for deadly force. So he comes back into court months later, and he tried to get his job back, and they still upheld the firing. So if he didn't do anything wrong and it's justified, why does he not get his job back? So they're separating themselves from him, saying, hey, you did wrong, but we can't admit wrong on my watch. The district attorney said, I can't say, yeah, somebody killed, one of my cops killed a guy wrongfully. And it's so, the reporter actually, when we got done with that, we actually went into an inquest form, which brings all parties back into court. And an inquest form has never been used in Memphis, Tennessee for 50 plus years. We've got the inquest form. We brought it back into court. We're saying, hey, we got tape now. We've got live tape showing him shooting him in the back with no weapon. So we thought open and shut case. No. We brought they cleared the courtroom out for it. The judge was really upset. He said, how did I receive this? And so he cleared the courtroom. They put a little show on for us. The district attorney sent her assistant down, and while we were at the judge's chambers, I look over and I see her name on the phone. She's listening. She wouldn't face us. She's listening to it through her assistant cell phone on speakerphone, and she didn't think we saw her name on it. So instead of her being a stand-up person to come down and talk to us face to face, she hid behind it and listened. So they listened to us for a couple of weeks and they dismissed it again. So my nephew's mother actually come in with a civil lawsuit. They said my brother's life had no value. The children gets zero money. So they admit wrong with the cop shooting them, and then they say no civil lawsuit as well. Then I come back with an inquest form, thinking I'm gonna get an open and shut case because I got video now, which the parents were lied to about video. So I'm thinking, hey, it's open shut case. No.
You said they stated, well, they tried to sit in the seat of God, and they said this man's life has no value.
No value. No value. So we had several chains of events trying to get justice. We didn't go out and burn down stores and riot, and we believed in the system. I mean, we're tax-paying citizens. We believe in the system, and the system failed us.
Okay, now, in closing, Hernandez Dowdy. Tell us something about Hernandez Dowdy. What would you like us to know about Hernandez?
Hernandez Dowdy was not any type of violent anything. He was a loving brother. I miss him very much. I had neck surgery back in '08. He stayed with me for a year. I couldn't lift a gallon of milk. I didn't lift a gallon of milk for like 6 months. Seriously. I could have did it in 6 weeks, but he wouldn't let me cut the grass. He wouldn't let me wash a car. He wouldn't let me do anything. He was there for me. We had our time. That was our time together. We stayed about a year with me. And he stayed with me off and on several times. He did have a drug problem. Yes, he did. The drug problem would put him in a situation to get him killed. So he wasn't an angel, but he still didn't deserve to be shot in the back. If he'd have thought he would have been killed that day, he would have stopped and gave himself up. He really would have. But a loving person, 2 children, always was a help to everybody around him. Never was a violent anything. I mean, nothing. He had trespassing charges or something like that, but no violent carjacker, I can tell you that.
Well, brothers and sisters, you know, if you're just now catching on to the current events that is going on in America, this goes all the way back to 2012. I want to read something to you from the USA Today news that I pulled off the wire earlier. It stated that Black Americans make up only 13% of the population, but are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. Think about that now. For those who are saying, why are they protesting? Why are they saying Black Lives Matter? And then to have a police department to say that after lie after lie after lie now, and not performing their duty, starting all the way back from the police officer who received the report, who waited 48 hours to put it into the system. The police officer that shot a fleeing suspect, all the way down to the DA and the judge who said his life has no value.
Yes. The whole system.
The whole system.
The whole system from front to back failed us.
Even after Erica Moore, who's a so-called criminal, she confessed.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She did the right thing.
She did the right thing.
She had a past, and I don't judge her. I'm not mad at her. Let me get that fact out there. I'm not mad at her because she did the right thing.
And really, she told the truth.
She told the truth. She told the truth. And if they just tell the truth, everything will be okay.
Now, you don't expect her to tell the truth.
I didn't expect her at all to tell the truth.
But she told the truth. But the people that you expected to tell the truth, that your tax dollar pay,
the people that's supposed to do the right thing aren't doing the right thing. Yeah, you're right.
Well, it's interesting that you said that when you was in court, you leaned over the shoulder of her assistant. She was listening in, but she wouldn't come to court.
Yeah, she listened on speakerphone. Yes, I witnessed it. And wouldn't come in faces. And during that period, it's about 24 different families. And if anybody that's lost anyone to the Memphis Police Department, and if you lay down, you're not doing your family members any civil duty or justice. I will fight to my last breathing breath to clear my brother's name and my family's name. My mother wants to know why her son doesn't get any press. She cries every day about it. It's a sore subject. Birthdays are really hard. Anniversaries are really hard of his death. So he's got 2 days we celebrate, birthdays and his death day. And you sit on the back porch with your parents and somebody's scared to bring his name up because it's such a sore subject. But I encourage you to always use their name, keep them alive. They have a purpose in life. And my brother lost his life just like George Floyd, to actually make change in Memphis. He's the George Floyd of Memphis. So we're going to make sure we get some changes. We need body cam. We need the district attorney removed because she's in her hands in a bunch of justified murders in Memphis that aren't justified. We've got a long list of them, and we can start. We got 24 up to 2012. And I'm going to do the research to see how many from 2012 to 2020 that we have a total of that's justified. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be seen. Somebody needs to look into this thing in Memphis, Tennessee. This is Black lives. It's not about Black lives. It's lives matter. Just so happen Memphis has the majority of Black people live in the city, but I'm pretty sure Hispanics, white people are getting done just as much. So it's not just about Black. Let's get that straight. Let's stick together, guys. Let's talk about wrongs and rights. That's what we need to talk about.
Okay, now for those who are watching, and they probably say, brother, why don't you ask the question? Well, what is that question? He feared for his life, so he thought that Hernandez Dowdy had a weapon. Did they find a weapon?
No weapon. No weapon. No weapon at all.
On the video, did he pull a weapon or turn to aim at the police?
He never looked back. From my view, from what I can see, which you'll see it here on the show here, we're going to show you the video. He never looked back. He got the best of them in a foot race, and I think they got a little upset with him, and that's what it was. It was a very hot day. We even got an eyewitness that actually saw it and wrote a hand-wrote letter. I'm not going to mention her name, but I've got a handwritten letter from an eyewitness. We even got the 911 tapes with saying the guy sat there and watched the whole ordeal and saw he got out and ran. They shot him in the back. He did nothing wrong. And then, like I said, we got the handwritten letter. So I got 2 eyewitnesses to this deal, and it still didn't do anything. 2 eyewitnesses, video, 2 eyewitnesses, and what else do you need?
Well, Brother Rico, thank you for coming on the Self-Improvement Show.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Once again, brothers and sisters, thank you once again for tuning in to the Self-Improvement Basis for Community Development Talk Show. Now, this is part 1.
Oh, yeah, I want to have several parts of this.
We've also going to interview those who was on the scene, the ones who called in 911, also the young lady who wrote the letter. We did go by the house of the lady who owned the camera that was still mounted on the corner of her house, but she don't want to be involved. But she did say now she gave the tape directly to the Memphis Police Department.
Yes.
You know, the police department said they don't have a tape.
No tape. Well, I've got the tape.
See, they used to tell me, you can't tell a lie unless you know the truth.
Yes.
And if you're lying, it's because you fear something. So, brothers and sisters, thank you for tuning in. Until next week, peace be unto you.
Starting date, Wednesday, June 27th, 2012, at 5 hours 54 minutes and 58 seconds p.m.
Memphis 911 emergency. Do you need police, fire, or ambulance?
And that man do nothing but get out the car and run. Ain't had no gun, no nothing. I'm sitting there witnessing it right here on Night Road.
What happened, sir?
They shot him. You ain't heard of that?
Night and what?
I'm on Night in Winchester, man. That man had a wreck, and shit, he got out the car and run. They shot him. He right there. He down the street.
Okay.
They won't let anybody go see what happened, man. I'm sitting here watching. I'm sitting on my porch. I'm trying to stay right here at the corner. They blocking everything off so you can't see.
Who's blocking everything off?
The police officers.
Sir, you're
They shot the man. The man didn't shoot at them. They shot the man.
Is this going on right now?
This is what's going on.
Did
Look
you
at
see
this.
the officer out there
There's about 8, 9 cars there.
at Night Road in Winchester?
Yeah.
Put on there, he's saying officers are on the scene.
They shot the dude.
Okay, who shot who?
The dude that jumped out the car, they shot the man. I'm
Who
sitting here
shot
watching
who?
this shit.
Who shot who?
The police shot
The
the
police
dude.
shot him?
Yeah, he on the ground.
What kind of car is he in?
It's taped around. There's a van and another car.
And this is at night in Winchester.
Yeah. I'm sitting there watching shit. They were chasing him, and he jumped out of the car and ran. They shot him.
Okay, I thought you said there was an accident.
Mm-mm. They were chasing him. He's not armed, no nothing. I know the person. They shot him. I don't know if he's dead or not. They shot him.
Okay, sir. You going to speak to someone?
Why I got to speak with
No, I'm just asking if you want to.
Fuck the thing, see?
Okay, have a good night. Bye-bye.
Ending date, Wednesday, June 27th, 2012, at 5 hours 57 minutes and 6 seconds p.m.